Hi guys, my name is Jasmine, and today we're going to work on a few ways in how to almost spice up your Vinyasa flow. So I'm going to run through Surya Namaskar A, but with a little bit of a twist on each one. So you will build heat and you will build strength, but take it at your own pace. If you've got 2 blocks handy, take 2 blocks, but you won't necessarily need them. So we're going to start in child's pose just momentarily. So knees out wide, big toes to touch behind you, sit down toward your heels, and then walk your hands forward, allowing your forehead to rest onto the mat. Taking some deep belly breaths. Start to breathe into your back body. Notice your rib cage as it expands and contracts in space. Walk your fingers as far forward as you can. So inch your fingers forward. You'll start to feel some expansion and length through the side body. Lift your hips so you can tuck your toes under and shift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And let's walk out your dog by bending through one knee and then the other. You can shift your hips from side to side. So today we're going to come through about 10 versions of Surya Namaskar A. Now these are just variations that you can add into your practice at any time. It's good to change up the pattern in which you move. So we'll come through a traditional round of Surya Namaskar A to begin so that you feel familiar with the fluid movement. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees deeply and step between your hands. Big toes touch, heels are slightly apart, hands to shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your way up to stand. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Hinge from the hip, forward fold. Halfway lift once again, hands to shins. Inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Lower down through chaturanga. Elbows raise the side ribs. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. So that flow is kind of what we're just used to in our bodies. But now we're going to take it down a notch and then build it up. So we're going to build momentum on our flow. So inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step between the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Roll up to stand, inhale. Hands to prayer, exhale. Listening closely, we're going to come through the most basic rounds to re-stabilize the spine. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale, step back, high plank. And drop your knees down to the mat. Inhale to dip the belly and look forward, cat and cow. Exhale, push the ground away. Tuck your chin into your chest. Inhale, broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, chin into chest, push the ground away. Find a neutral spine, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Version 1. Moving on. Onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step between the hands. Halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, fold. Roll your way up to stand, inhale. Hands to prayer, exhale. Version 2. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Drop knees, chest and chin to the mat. Elbows graze the side ribs. Inhale to flatten out, low cobra. Pressing the tops of the feet down, pressing your pubic bone down. Your elbows come down and back towards one another so that you can take the shoulders away from the ears. Keep your neck nice and long so you're not craning the neck. Exhale, lower back down. Press back through child's pose at the back of the mat. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. That's version 2. Version 3, onto the balls of the feet. Bend the knees deeply. Step your way forward between your hands. Halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your way up to stand, inhale. Exhale, hands to prayer at heart center. So chaturanga is quite an intense pose. It's quite a strong pose. So if you're struggling on keeping your elbows by your side ribs, this variation is for you. Inhale, your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, high plank. So instead of having a regular base, I want you to take a wider base with your hands, so your hands are out a little bit wider, coming into almost like a traditional push-up plank. So we're going to take our elbows out wide as we lower all the way down to the mat. Try and stay for 3 seconds at least. Hands onto fingertips off the mat. One palm print in front of your shoulders. Inhale, ripple up, rolling cobra. Exhale, lower down. Now you can alternate the shoulder drop. So inhale as you come up. Exhale, drop your right shoulder, right ear down to the mat. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, drop your left ear, left shoulder down. Inhale through center. Exhale, lower down through center. Hands underneath shoulders, press back through child's pose. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. I think that's version 3. Version 4, onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step between the hands. Halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your way up to stand. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift once again. Inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Drop your knees down. Now I find that when I drop my knees down, sometimes my tummy muscles want to deactivate. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift our shoulders past our wrists. We're going to start to draw our belt buckle or the front of our hip flexors towards our rib cage, and you'll feel your tummy muscles turn back on. If you point your toes back in space and start to press down through the tops of the feet, this will also encourage you to press the ground away through your hands. Hug the elbows towards one another and lower all the way down to the mat. Maybe you hold momentarily of where you would find chaturanga and then lower all the way down. Low cobra once again. So inhale, press your pubic bone and your tops of your feet down into the mat, drawing your shoulders away from your ears, and then see if you can float your hands. Starting to turn on all your back muscles. Keep breathing. Exhale, lower back down. Listen closely, hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to hug the elbows towards one another and press up to tabletop. Stay nice and strong. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step your way forward between your hands. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your way up to stand, inhale. Hands to prayer, exhale. Okay, we're starting to build on to more advanced poses. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Roll your way up, inhale. Halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, high plank. Drop your knees down, drop your forearms down. We're going to shift our weight forward in space, upward facing dog, one forward movement. Press the ground away through your hands so you can dome the upper back as you roll back, downward facing dog. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step yourself forward between your hands. Halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Roll up to stand, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, keep it nice and strong. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Dolphin pose. Both forearms come down onto the mat. Your hips are lifted nice and high. And listen closely. We're going to shift our body weight forward in one motion and end up in chaturanga. So take a deep inhale. As you press into your hands, you're going to lift your forearms, lift your elbows and bounce into chaturanga. Inhale deeply. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step your way forward between your hands. Halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Up to stand, inhale. Exhale, fold. Hands to shins, inhale. Exhale, plant your hands, listen closely. As we build up to a one leg flow, a really great way of learning how to chin stand, which is where we're going not now but next, is we've got to really perfect our one leg flow. So a good way of doing that is stepping one foot back in space first to begin, almost like you're in a runner's lunge. So for me right now, my left foot is back in space. As my right foot comes back to meet my left, it's going to hover off the mat. However, I'm going to bend my elbows as I step that foot back into chaturanga. So in slow motion, my right foot lifts. As I step it back, I'm going to bend through the elbows, almost like a three-leg chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. If you drop your knees to the mat, we're going to take the next flow into our chin stand. If chin stand isn't in your practice just yet, keep practicing that one leg step back. You can even try and lift that lifted leg higher as you come down. Otherwise, if you've got two blocks handy, take them on either side of your, almost like so your head will fit between your blocks are shoulder width apart. These are going to be the landing spots for your shoulders. So, fingertips behind the blocks, your middle finger grazes the edge of the block, tuck your toes under, lift your hips nice and high, downward facing dog. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step between the hands. Halfway lift on your inhale, exhale, fold. Roll your way up to stand, inhale. Exhale, hinge from the hip. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands. Left foot goes back, right foot goes up and back. Three-leg dog. For chin stand, you need a shorter down dog. So if you have stepped out too far in space, you may need to walk your back foot in just slightly. 3-leg dog. As you ripple forward into high plank, try and keep that top leg nice and lifted, nice and strong. As you lower down to chaturanga, your shoulders will make contact with the blocks. You're hugging the elbows towards the side ribs. And then keeping the top leg, the lifted leg, nice and strong. You can bend through the bottom leg and kick up into chin stand. Immediately coming into upward facing dog. Roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here to slow down the heart rate. You can come onto your knees and move your blocks out of the way. Moving on to our next variation. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, step your way forward between your hands. Halfway lift on your inhale, exhale, fold. Roll your way up to stand, inhale, exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, plant your hands, step back with one foot. So my left foot's going back in space, right leg goes up and back, 3-leg dog. We're coming into Vinyasa, which is an arm balance. So if you feel like your stance is too long, once again, you may need to walk your hands back in space. You'll need a shorter down dog. So we're in a 3-leg dog. We're going to bend through the top knee. Actually, I'll show you on the opposite side. So my left leg lifted this time. We'll bend through the top knee and creating a shelf-like fashion with our arms like we normally do with chaturanga. We're going to take our left thigh on top of our left tricep. So as you ripple forward into high plank, bend through the elbows. You'll find a shelf fashion with your right side torso on your right arm. You can kick your left leg out and lift your right leg up. Step your right foot back down, left foot back down, you're in chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take child's pose. So knees out wide, big toes touch. Sit your hips towards your heels and walk your hands forward. We're only here for 5 breaths. Slowly walk your hands back towards yourself. So that's just a few ways of that you can use to be creative in your classes. You don't always have to do the same motion that the teacher is obviously cueing. If they give you the option to do your own Vinyasa Flow, I would encourage you to start to express yourselves creatively. Try these different variations on both sides, see how it works in your body, and then find something that works for you. I normally, in my own personal practice, will come through a few rounds of a similar flow at the start of my practice to realign myself with chaturanga, upward facing dog, cobra, all of those regular variations that we often find. And then as I get further along in my practice, I tend to mix it up a lot. I'll be a bit more creative. Sometimes I'll take cat and cow so that I can put more effort into or more energy into the next piece of the puzzle. If my body feels like it's ready to go a little bit deeper, I might try things like chin stand or coming forward from dolphin pose. There's so many options that you have in your flow. So give yourself some time to be creative and play with it. I encourage you to practice all of these different techniques and see what works well for your bodies. Let's all take our hands to prayer at heart center. Close down the eyes. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, bow your head towards your hands. Namaste. Thanks, guys.